Thank you, Hugh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for inviting us to present to you this evening. It's particularly important at this stage in the calendar and the planning of the lead into the games that we begin engaging very closely with businesses such as yourselves. As Hugh has already said, there is a great deal of transport investment being levered into place in order to ease transport issues at games time, but make no mistake, it will be very, very busy and very different. During the busiest day of the games, we'll be looking at the equivalent to the entire population of metropolitan Leeds attempting to come in and go out again on top of background demand. That will generate challenges. We have a programme at the ODA to provide advice to business in order to help you meet those challenges. In putting that programme together, we've done quite a lot of research with businesses of all sizes in order to understand what businesses want from us, what kind of assistance is required. One of the messages that's come through very loud and clear from businesses of all types, all sizes, is that they want it straight. They want an open, honest, transparent dialogue. They don't want things sugar-coated. They want to understand how they are likely to be affected, what may the operating landscape look like at games time so that they can plan. And it's with that principle in mind that we've put together the programme that we have and which I will explain to you now. So the programme has a number of specific aims. Firstly, in order to free up sufficient capacity on London's transport networks to enable the Olympics to take place, to enable the spectators to move around, to enable the potential customers to move through the networks and get to where they need to be when they need to be there. Secondly, to understand where the overlay of Olympics onto business as usual is likely to create hotspots where demand will exceed capacity, and to do our best to manage around those hotspots, including by engaging with businesses such as yourselves. We have a number of strands to the the programme, of which working with the business community is one of the key ones, but there are other aspects which I'll just briefly outline to give you the context before I dive into the detail of advice to business. We have a relationship with ticketed spectators by virtue of their being customers of London 2012. And we will be providing a great deal of information to them in order to help them plan their trips, help them move through the network in ways which optimise the capacity of the network. We are putting together a bespoke journey planner which spectators can use to plan a trip by any of the modes we're making available, such as direct coach, by existing modes such as LU, etc., to any of the Olympic venues. We're advising them of the optimum route to take and the best ways to get to those venues. And we'll be encouraging them, obviously, to use that planner to make sure they use the network in the best possible way at games time. We'll be providing information and advice to the travelling public on where to expect the spectators, on how to consider adjusting their travel patterns at games time for the 16 days of the Olympics, for the 12 days of the Paralympics, where they might expect to find delays, where these hotspots are likely to be, what the workarounds might be. For businesses specifically, our objectives are not to tell businesses what to do. A guiding principle is that it is not our job and it is not appropriate for us to be the expert in how you ought to run your business. Our job is to provide you with the planning information which you can use to assess what the impact might be on your business, what the opportunities might be, and what the appropriate response is for your business based on its location, its sector, its size, its operating practices, and so on. We want to help you understand what the challenges might be, and we want to put in place the tools that you can use to determine what the appropriate response is. We've therefore put together a suite of tools which we'll be deploying over the next 2 years, 18 months. The first of those tools is directed primarily at large organisations where we can take a lot of people off the network. we'll be providing site-specific support to those businesses, and we've already engaged with businesses with a total of 100,000 employees since the launch of the Advice to Business programme 3 weeks ago. We'll be using events such as this, put on by third parties, and we're very grateful to the organisers for creating these opportunities to spread the message more widely within the business community. We'll also be putting on our own events and workshops as necessary to fill gaps. But we have been working very hard to develop relationships with business intermediary organisations who have, I must say, been universally enthusiastic about providing their members with information, providing us channels to communicate to businesses, and we are confident that we have a great deal of coverage of London business in terms of ability to talk to London business about what the games might mean to them. We've published a toolkit. This is a state-of-the-art toolkit based on best practice in business travel planning to advise businesses on the sorts of tactics and strategies they may wish to consider about how to prepare themselves for games time, about how they may be able to reduce their total travel footprint in order both to contribute to a successful games and also to reduce their own exposure to travel difficulties at games times. We are providing advice on how businesses may be able to retime the travel of their staff, their employees, their suppliers, their customers. We're providing advice on the different mode options which may be available, and we will aim in time to provide advice on which routes are available. We're putting a lot of this information on a travel portal. I'll give out the address shortly, and I'd urge you to visit that portal, familiarise yourself with it, and register for updates, because this is the beginning of a dialogue with the business community. We're committed to giving you the information we're able to give you as it becomes available. So there's quite a lot of information on there already. I'll explain in a bit more detail shortly. We will be putting more information on that website as we roll forward and as more information becomes available. So these are some pretty pictures of some of the materials which are available. They're all downloadable from the website. We do have some hard copies available. You can pick some up from the ODA stand up in the reception area, but please visit the website to download more. The web address is london2012.com/travel advice for business. If you Google that or use any other search engines are available. If you use one of those other search engines, it should come up pretty near the top. As part of our commitment to giving you meaningful planning data, we've published a series of maps. We've published 22 to date, representing most of the areas of London which forecasting is currently telling us may be affected by the games. In due course, we will be publishing further maps for outer London venues such as Windsor and Eton, Weymouth and Portland, etc. Those maps contain our best estimate of the sorts of travel conditions which are predicted at games time if background demand, if businesses continue with business as usual. In other words, if you take a typical London in August and onto that you overlay the Olympics, this is what you might expect. So this is an example of the Marylebone map. It shows the area, it shows the junctions in the blue where we are forecasting significant additional delays as a consequence of the traffic management around the Olympic Games. It shows the LU stations which we're forecasting will be affected, and it is supported by a table within the same document which line by line explains what operating conditions are likely to be experienced during games time, which days, which time periods those lines will be busiest, what level of delays may be experienced on those lines if people wish to make journeys on those lines. It's all about giving planning data. We're committed to further updating these maps as we move forward and as more information is available. So, in summary, we have around 18 months to prepare for the Games. For individual businesses, the game offers huge opportunities. As Hugh's already said, it also offers challenges. We believe that the key to ensuring that as many businesses as possible are ready to face those challenges is planning, is going into this with your eyes open, with understanding what the games may mean to you and determining what response works for your business. At games time, if transport is going to work, we are all going to have to think differently about the way we travel. Everyday life will be different. For 16 days, we will have to think differently. The legacy of transport investment we will begin to enjoy from next spring and thereafter. So what we've attempted to do is put together a toolkit and the beginnings of a series of communications to you, setting out how you can understand what the games might mean for you, how you might prepare for it, and that's supported by some subsidiary elements for businesses, for example, which don't habitually understand how their staff travel to work. We're putting together a standardised staff travel survey so that businesses can understand how their staff do travel, etc. So I hope this will be the beginning of a lengthy and fruitful collaboration between us as organisations. I hope you'll visit the website. I would urge you to go there and register, and we look forward to working with you to making the games a success. Thank you very much.